This is Croatia. 10 years ago, economists called it a failed state on Europe's periphery. Today, it's growing at 3.9%, faster than Germany, France, and every other economy in Central and Eastern Europe. Its credit rating just hit A-, matching countries like Poland and surpassing Italy. Foreign investment is pouring in at record levels. Croatia isn't just recovering, it's becoming one of Europe's most dynamic economies. And Croatia isn't alone in this transformation. Romania has pulled off the fastest economic convergence in EU history, jumping from 40% of the EU's average GDP per capita to 72.2% in just 17 years. That's a 30 percentage point gain, more than any other EU member has ever achieved in such a short time. Meanwhile, Bulgaria, supposedly Europe's poorest country, has the second lowest government debt in the entire EU at just 24.1% of GDP and is building more solar capacity than nations 5 times its size. For decades, these 3 countries, Bulgaria, Romania, and Croatia, were written off as Europe's permanent underclass. Too poor, too corrupt, too far behind to ever catch up. But something remarkable is happening. In 2024, while Germany's economy shrank and France struggled with debt, these forgotten economies posted some of Europe's highest growth rates. Foreign investment into Romania jumped 57% in a single year. Croatia's wages are rising at 7.5% annually. Bulgaria is meeting its 2030 renewable energy target 7 years early. The numbers are staggering. Together, these 3 countries are receiving 48.2 billion euros in EU funding through 2027. That's equivalent to 13.5% of their combined GDP. Romania's IT sector has exploded from 6.2% to 12% of GDP, employing over 250,000 professionals. Croatian companies like Rimac Automobili, valued at $2.2 billion, are now supplying battery technology to Aston Martin and Porsche. These aren't catch-up economies anymore. They're becoming Europe's new growth engines. What you're witnessing isn't just an economic recovery. It's potentially the most dramatic economic transformation in modern European history. 3 countries that entered the EU as its poorest members are now outpacing and outperforming their Western neighbors. And the best part? They're just getting started. This is the untold story of how Europe's forgotten economies are becoming its future superstars. To appreciate how remarkable this rise is, we need to understand where these countries started. When Bulgaria and Romania joined the EU in 2007, they were essentially developing economies entering a first-world club. Their GDP per capita was just 40 to 45% of the EU average, lower than many African nations today. Croatia wasn't much better when it joined in 2013, sitting at around 60%. But EU membership unleashed something powerful. Suddenly, these countries had access to the world's largest single market. German companies could build factories in Romania without tariffs. Italian manufacturers could set up in Bulgaria with full legal protection. French retailers could expand into Croatia seamlessly. The result? An investment boom that hasn't stopped since. Romania became the manufacturing hub of Eastern Europe almost overnight. Today, it produces over 500,000 vehicles annually, hosts Europe's largest Ford plant outside Germany, and has become the continent's 4th largest automotive parts exporter. The sector now accounts for 14% of Romania's GDP and employs 230,000 people directly. Companies that once wouldn't have looked twice at Romania are now fighting for space in its industrial parks. But the real surprise has been the tech boom. Romania's IT sector isn't just growing, it's exploding. From 2015 to 2024, IT exports grew from 2.5 billion euros to over 6 billion euros. UiPath, founded in Bucharest, is now valued at $35 billion, larger than many Western European tech companies. Over 20,000 new IT jobs are being created every year, with average salaries hitting 2,500 euros monthly, 5 times the national average. Croatia's transformation has been even more dramatic. In January 2023, it became the 20th member of the Eurozone, immediately eliminating currency risk for investors. 6 months later, it joined the Schengen area, allowing free movement of goods and people. The impact was instantaneous. Tourist numbers hit 18 million in 2024, generating 12 billion euros in revenue. But this isn't just about tourism anymore. Croatian innovation is going global. Rimac Automobili started in a garage in 2009. Today, it employs 1,300 people, has built a €200 million R&D campus. the largest private research investment in Croatian history, and Porsche owns 24% of the company. Its electric hypercar, the Navara, produces 1,914 horsepower and costs 2 million euros. This is the kind of high-tech manufacturing that Germany and Japan used to monopolize. Perhaps nowhere is the transformation more visible than in renewable energy. Bulgaria has become Europe's unlikely solar powerhouse. In just 2 years, solar capacity grew by 140%, reaching 3 gigawatts in 2023. Solar now provides 8.8% of Bulgaria's electricity, up from virtually nothing 5 years ago. The country is adding 1 gigawatt of new capacity every year, attracting billions in green investment. Romania added 1 gigawatt of solar capacity in 2023 alone, a 308% increase. The EU's Modernization Fund just allocated 2.169 billion euros for Romanian clean energy projects, the largest amount for any member state. By 2030, Romania plans to have 8 gigawatts of solar and 5 gigawatts of wind capacity. These aren't just environmental goals. They're economic opportunities worth tens of billions. Croatia is investing 652 million euros in green transition projects for 2025 alone, including a 99-megawatt solar plant that will power 30,000 homes. The government's Digital Croatia strategy aims to increase the ICT sector's contribution from 4.5% to 13% of GDP by 2032. These countries aren't following Europe's energy transition, they're leading it. Here's what's truly remarkable. While Western European economies stagnate, these three are thriving. In 2024, Germany's economy contracted by 0.2%. France grew just 1.1%. Italy managed only 0.7%. Meanwhile, Croatia hit 3.9%. Bulgaria achieved 2.2% despite political instability, and even Romania, facing fiscal challenges, managed 1.4% growth. The investment numbers tell an even clearer story. In 2024, Romania saw the highest FDI project growth in all of Central and Eastern Europe, up 57% year-on-year. Major companies aren't just investing, they're doubling down. Turkish group Usuri Capital is building a 960 million euro low-carbon steel plant in Romania. Alstom is investing 50 million euros to expand its Croatian transport facility. PepsiCo just opened a 95 million euro distribution center in Zagreb. Unemployment has plummeted across all three countries. Croatia's rate dropped to 5.0% in 2024, down from 15% a decade ago. Bulgaria maintains 4.2% unemployment, effectively full employment. Even youth unemployment, historically above 30%, has fallen dramatically. These tight labor markets are driving wage growth. Real wages in Bulgaria are up 5.3%, in Croatia 7.5%, creating a consumption boom that's fueling further growth. Yes, these countries face demographic challenges. Bulgaria has lost 18% of its population since 2003. But here's what the pessimists miss. This is actually driving positive transformation. Labor shortages are forcing companies to invest in automation and productivity improvements. Wages are rising faster than anywhere in Europe, making these countries increasingly attractive to their own diaspora. Croatia is already seeing reverse migration. For the first time in decades, educated Croatians are returning from Germany and Ireland, drawn by rising salaries and improved quality of life. The government's new tax incentives for returning citizens, including 5 years of reduced income tax, are working. In 2024, net migration turned positive for the first time since independence. The productivity gains are remarkable. Despite fewer workers, Bulgarian manufacturing output has increased 30% since 2015. Romanian IT sector productivity rivals Western Europe, with revenue per employee exceeding 50,000 euros annually. These countries aren't just working harder, they're working smarter, leveraging technology and EU investment to transform their economies. The real game changer has been EU funding. Romania's 30.9 billion euros allocation for 2021 to 2027 is larger than many countries' entire government budgets. Bulgaria's 9.1 billion euros is transforming everything from digital infrastructure to renewable energy. Croatia's 8.2 billion euros, relative to its size, represents one of the largest development programs in European history. And unlike previous funding rounds, this money is being spent effectively. Croatia has already absorbed 45% of its recovery and resilience funds, the highest rate in Eastern Europe. New EU oversight mechanisms are reducing corruption and ensuring projects deliver results. Every kilometer of new highway, every renewable energy plant, every digital upgrade is making these economies more competitive. The transformation is accelerating. The World Bank predicts that Bulgaria, Romania, and Croatia could triple their clean technology exports if they maintain current market shares. McKinsey estimates Romania's digital economy could reach 30 billion euros by 2030. Croatia's tourism revenue is projected to hit 15 billion euros by 2027. International institutions are taking notice. Fitch, S&P, and Moody's have all upgraded Croatia's credit rating in the last 18 months. The World Bank just approved $116.4 million for Croatia's digital innovation project. The EBRD is investing record amounts across all three countries. This isn't charity, it's recognition that these economies represent Europe's best growth opportunities. The story of Bulgaria, Romania, and Croatia isn't about forgotten economies trying to catch up. It's about dynamic markets that have already caught up and are now racing ahead. They've turned EU membership into a transformation engine, geographic position into strategic advantage, and challenges into opportunities for innovation. These countries were never forgotten. They were just getting ready. And now, with the fastest growth rates in Europe, revolutionary energy transitions, and booming tech sectors, they're not just on the rise, they're showing the rest of Europe what the future looks like. The question isn't whether these economies will succeed. It's whether Western Europe can keep up with them